Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tech-Mex podcast. We're your hosts, Eric and Mando, and this is episode Cincuenta y Cinco. We're bringing you the top stories in Bitcoin, tech, and wealth so you too can replace your salary using Bitcoin options. Dale.
I like that. All right, so let's start with Bitcoin though. Man, big news yesterday, October 18. They literally are kind of fast tracking for the SEC to be able to roll out the options for Bitcoin. There are 11 ETFs, and they're gonna just do it all at once. What do you think about it?
Man, it came out of nowhere. I didn't even, I mean, I knew that they were working on, hey, potentially, let's see if we can get these options. But no, it got approved. That was like super quick, right? So I don't know, like what caused this, or it had pretty good backing. But I think that's good news for a lot of people that are in these ETFs.
There is a lot of things that maybe you guys right now are hearing us very excited. And it's like, well, it's just another instrument for Wall Street, right? Well, who cares? No, this is pretty big. Eh, for all of as we have been saying for the past year, in order for Wall Street to be able to start playing with these instruments, they have to have this type of assets. They were saying in BlackRock that almost 70% of the buying has been still people. So it has not been like financial institutions. So even imagine the inflow that is going to come when we start seeing pension funds, mutual funds, and when it start getting so big, that maybe it will be part of the S&P 500, or in this case, maybe probably more NASDAQ because it's more technology. And then it really becomes like no matter what, everybody will have a chunk. Even if you don't care or like crypto, guess what? If you're getting the ETF for NASDAQ, you still want to have a 5%, right? I don't know the percentage that is going to become at some point. So yeah, this is huge.
That's a good point. Yeah. This is going to be something that's going to help a lot more people get some crypto, or I mean, really more
Exposure.
Bitcoin exposure at this point. So it's really good news. And kind of our lead today into the episode was like, so you can replace your salary using Bitcoin options, right? So a lot of people use options just in general, right? It's a pretty good strategy where you can basically get returns. Up to now, like for folks that are in the Bitcoin space, if you want to really like make money off your Bitcoin, you would have to trust FTX or Celsius or something like that with your Bitcoin to earn a yield. But we all know how that goes. Not your keys, not your coins. But our hope here is that BlackRock is bringing a little bit more stability into the space, and hopefully we can trust them with our Bitcoin through these ETFs, and this is something that would enable us to earn a yield or earn some money back without having to sell our actual Bitcoin. So I think this is pretty big news for a lot of hodlers out there, right? For the folks that don't ever want to have to sell their Bitcoin, but they want to generate some income or some recurring revenue from it, like this is one of the ways of doing it. So I think it's pretty exciting news.
Yeah, for sure. There are a couple things that we will get, and the number one is hedging. You can use, if you're not very familiar with options, basically you have these two type of contracts. One is a put and another one is a call. A put, you need to think it more like an insurance, and a call is to be able to have like a coupon, something that it will help you to get a discount if the price goes up. So with this type of contracts, you will be able to hedge, and financial institutions really like this type of strategies. It feels or sounds complicated, but there are very basic strategies. One of those is cover calls. So you have your stash of Bitcoin, whether in like literally your Bitcoins, or if you just buy the ETF, in this case IBIT, and then you can start just creating a cover call. So and that's how you generate, with the premium of the contract, you can generate cash flow and some sort of income. Once again, we are two dudes on internet. We are not financial advisors. We are just bringing you some different strategies what you can do, because it was very risky before, trusting all of these different companies. Yeah, they promise a lot of return of investment, but it was not secured at all.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really good news that now, okay, we're getting all this regulatory clarity from the government. It looks like things are progressing kind of as planned. Of course, we called it a long time ago when we said if BlackRock says they want this, it's eventually going to happen. It's really just a matter of time. So again, they're pushing the Bitcoin agenda. Larry Fink, CEO BlackRock, he's a big believer. So this is definitely headed in the right direction. For those of you that aren't experienced in options and doing covered calls, things like that, might be a good opportunity if you're in Bitcoin already to, try and leverage it to get a little bit of income from it. So I think it's pretty good news. I mean, it's the future is bright right here, especially for big adoption from the big institutions.
Yeah. Funny story. That's how I learned how to start trading though with Bitcoin. I didn't went to traditional just start trading with the stocks. In fact, I got very interested in Bitcoin more than a decade ago, and that's when I started understanding more selling the exchanges, things like that. Then after that, then I started going into Wall Street. Full circle here, I guess.
That's true. I mean, right, because back in the day, we were just trying to grow that stack, right? We're in like, okay, how do we get more? How do we get more? And I tried it. I lost a lot of Bitcoin back then in doing that, but you still take lessons from all of that. And ever since then, I became a lot more interested in just general finance, right? With our other investments with fiat money. So I think it was really interesting how it was Bitcoin that got us more into the finance space just in general and helped us start understanding the macroeconomics and things that really are affecting everything that with inflation. Bitcoin, the whole premise of Bitcoin really lets you understand how the government approaches money with the Fed and the inflation rates and things like that, and how your money over time loses value with fiat. So, and Bitcoin solves that problem. So very, very interesting. You got to go down the rabbit hole. You'll start like reading about all this stuff if you're not yet into Bitcoin, or if you are, but you're just beginning. Lots of cool stuff here, and we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing is just to get protection, right? Like, let's say that you don't want to fiddle with any of these contracts, but you can use it as an insurance. It's like you already make good amount of money with your Bitcoin. You can protect it in a yearly basis, on a weekly basis, monthly basis. Not sure the options when their strikes or expiry they're gonna be look like. But yeah, usually if they just go with the regular ones, it can be even weeklies options. So that way, if you feel that an event is going to happen, right? Let's say that you feel that some news, then you can hedge it. Then you can buy the insurance and you can say, you know what, I don't want to lose up to here. And then you can calculate based on how much stash do you have versus the option. So it's a terrific instrument. I really like options. I feel that they the problem though with option is that you go to Wall Street bets in Reddit, and you can see insane
That's
digits
where you get
there.
all the best advice, though, no?
Depends. It's like YOLO, you know. And yes, there are some that there are a lot of tickets. Like literally, you will be able to just do 100 times in a simple contract, but sometimes you lose your money. Actually, the majority of the times is you don't know because you're trying to predict the future. So yeah, it's very interesting. The part that I feel that Wall Street is not ready is how volatile is Bitcoin at the moment. So there's gonna be a lot of people that they're just gonna get bust because they haven't measured properly the volatility, and they think that maybe they can time it. But yeah, remember, Bitcoin is 24/7.
24/7. That's right.
so so we'll see how that behaves once that is in basically rolling.
Yeah. Well, speaking of volatility, those of y'all plugged into the price of Bitcoin this week, it nearly got to 69K. It's been going in this sideways channel for a long time, but the 69K is kind of towards the top of the channel. A lot of people say this is kind of either a bull flag forming, or it's you could see a cup and handle forming, or you could see the bullhorn forming. In any case, a lot of the charts, for those of y'all that are out there looking at this, are indicating that it's about to do a breakout move. Hence, a lot of this price action kind of going towards the upside here. So when we say volatility, yeah, it means downside, but it also means upside. And like we've been saying, we're at the beginning of a bull cycle here. And we're just waiting for like this next big leg up where it blasts through the all-time highs. The current all-time high is, I think, between 73, 74K. So we're just like, this next push could really get us there to the all-time high again. We just have to see if it holds. And then it'll be up from there, price discovery again. So who knows how much it'll take us. A lot of people were predicting 100K by the end of the year, but I think most conventional wisdom at this point is saying it'll be at least 80K by the end of the year. But here's the thing with Bitcoin. When everyone is thinking the same thing is going to happen, it does like something else. Bitcoin, it's like people try to time the market. People try to guess what's going to happen. And if everyone's on the same page, you just know Bitcoin's going to do something different. So just a warning out there, again, not financial advisors. That's a warning, but most people think right now it's about to make this big move up.
And it's interesting because it's not about to being smart. Have you seen the chart from Isaac Newton when he gets into the stock market? It's hilarious, man. Like literally, Isaac Newton gets into the market, then he gets out, like, yeah, I'm a genius. Well, maybe the guy, actually, indeed, he was a genius. Then his friends, they start hearing, hey, Isaac Newton did it. As might as well just get in into the market. They get in. They take the big hike on the bubble, right, on the stock market. Then it's like Isaac Newton's like, crap, I need to get in. Then he gets in at the top. But unfortunately, he sells when it's just the bubble just pops, right?
Yeah.
So even Isaac Newton was a struggle in timing the market.
Yeah. Hey, remember, it's not buy high, sell low. It's the opposite. Buy low so you can sell high, right? But the thing is, it's never that easy. So time in the market beats timing the market, right? That's also what folks say is, and I think it's especially true with Bitcoin. If you're in there at the right time, understanding the cycles, the 4-year cycle of Bitcoin, it really is more about that. You just got to be in there because it can make a 5K move in a day.
Yeah,
I think we're going to start seeing 10K candles, daily candles. So once it really gets going.
The other thing is options are helping you to protect from black swans events. Nassim Taleb coined it the term because it's basically randomness. You don't know when it's going to happen, but they happen often. That what the statistics tells you. But the other thing that options helps you is for liquidity. And this is where maybe some of you have heard about the famous market makers. Who are those famous market makers? It's basically companies that they are trying to create that liquidity. A good example of this is imagine that you already have X amount of money into Bitcoin and suddenly you want to sell it and nobody buys it. That sucks because you are trying to get out, and as a big financial institution, they want the liquidity. They want to be able to have the asset to be able almost to get out instantaneously, right? And these type of instruments, they are able to just control that to try to see, okay, how you can smooth it out so that way you can consume that demand or that offer. And that also makes the market more efficient. Literally, when you push the button, you can get all of the Bitcoin that you want, and you can get out. So that's the other thing that we can get from options.
Yeah. So a lot of good things that are coming up. I mean, the next 12 months in Bitcoin are typically the ones where you see everybody rejoicing. Everyone thinks they're a genius. Everyone's making money. So this is good times coming up. So Options, though, it's a new twist here, and it's going to be something pretty interesting for folks that are really more serious about their financial instruments. This is one of the big ones that's going to allow people to, instead of buying and just selling, which causes a lot of the market variations, they'll be able to hold on to it and just do these covered calls and things like that. So, and be able to make money that way. So
Yep.
pretty interesting, pretty good stuff this week from Bitcoin.
Yeah. Let's move to the next section, AI. So what do we have here in AI?
So just in general, the whole industry and AI, there's been, just steady movement. You're starting to see folks coming in and developing different products and trying to see what's the best way of using AI in a way that's helpful for humanity, because everybody knows the Terminator story, right? We're trying to stay away from Terminator and trying to make sure, hey, we can use this technology for good, which is something that I know both of us have always been working towards. How do you use technology for good? So, we were talking and we're thinking, man, there's this opportunity out there of elderly care, right? We've been hearing for the last 10 years the boomers are going to end up getting older. They're going to need more help on the home. A lot of folks, once they get older, they don't want to leave their home, right? And there's a story. My mother-in-law, she takes care of all the little viejitas that live around the neighborhood that are, for whatever reason, they're at home. They're stubborn. They don't want to leave. They don't want to go to a home. They feel more comfortable in their own house, which I think everyone can relate to. But, they're 80, 90 years old, and they do need like help and like daily help, right? Just to make sure they're okay. And we were thinking, AI can provide us some help here. We were talking last week about how there's this potential for AI to be able to monitor your stats, your daily stats. It helps you to kind of live a longer life. But there's
Mm-hmm.
also this opportunity for the elderly to help for them to live a safer life, or like a more independent life, right? By providing stats and stuff like that to their family from afar sometimes. What do you
Yeah.
think?
There is I have seen a lot of companies, but I don't know any brand that is like, hey, this is the brand that I can recommend to my family, right? Because there is no
Mhm.
somebody position in the market that is like the Kleenex, right? You don't say it like a tissue, you just sometimes call the brands, right? So
Mhm.
uh and I feel that like that here. There is no brand that it is taking the market share. And I do feel that maybe right now technology is very good, the networking and communication also. And I think that ultimately what is going to happen is just robots. They're going to
Yeah.
replace everything, right? Tesla robots, you'll have a nurse in your home and they will take care of you. They'll leave you, Ramirez.
As soon as Elon opens up that sign up list, I'm putting my name on there. I already
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So that for sure. Like, hopefully, we might get uh, an early bird access. We'll see if maybe they do something like that. But anyways, I think that ultimately that's what is going to happen. But in the short term, I think that is the whole business is an interesting business. We have been discussing on buying different businesses, and this is one that it seems very interesting to me because it's something that is actually helping society and helping around. And I feel that the products are not well integrated. You have like monitoring systems in one way, you have like the whole routes of the whole nurses. Also, it's interesting the mobile, because a lot of people, they don't want to live in a community, and sometimes they cannot afford it because it's super
yeah.
expensive too. So I feel that maybe a way with technology to to help them out, to monitor and have all of the different sensors might be interesting. And let us know, all of the listeners, you guys are smart, bright entrepreneurs too. If you guys have some ideas, let us know. Reach out to us and let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah. You know what? It's a good reminder right now then. Like, subscribe, comment. We'd want to hear. Do you have any ideas for this industry? I think there's something there. But going back, they had like the old school help. I fall in and I can't get up. The little emergency button that you push and it sends the SOS, right? So I think it's like
Dude,
it's
that
time to bring that
infomercial.
to like the 2020s here, right?
I remember that infomercial, like back on those, like push the button,
Yeah.
and it's like humongous, like button in their chest. Right?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, right along with the clapper.
I don't know what kind of clapper.
That was high tech back in the 80s, man, right?
It was. It was.
But I think, yeah, the opportunity there to bring some of the smarts, right, from the AI. Let's help us out with healthcare. We both have a little bit of background there with the healthcare, so this kind of piqued our interest here. But you know,
And I
there.
never.
I,
Go ahead. Continue.
I was going to say there are some products out there, but I think they're not quite as well integrated and seamless, I think, as it can be. So there's something that we can bring there, I think, to that market, whether it's like some dashboard or early warning systems, things like that. I think it can be helpful.
So early in my career, when I was still working in Mexico City, I basically was part of the government, and I was in the health institution for a couple years. So my boss at the time, he told me, "Hey, you have to be very careful. Actually, in fact, I wouldn't even tell anyone where do you work or what project do you do." And I was like, "What? Why?" He was basically giving me the project to for the transplants for donor transplants. So
Mhm.
imagine we had access to the database. We had access to basically have the priority list. Obviously, has highly regulated and audited, but still, imagine if a person will know they can almost even kidnap me. And he said that there were some attempts in previous people, so kind of freaked me out. And yes, I followed his advice,
Yeah.
and I didn't tell people.
And then you left the country.
I left the country. So, so yeah, it was that level, and that's kind of my experiences in a very macro. We have databases of all Mexico, basically anybody that just went to the hospital in Mexico, and it was in the Mexican health system. Yeah, they were there. The other interesting thing about health that not right now with AI is like there's a lot of information there in medical. Is that we also knew the mortality rates per cities,
Hmm.
because in that way a lot of the hospitals over there, they are part of the government, and they are like kind of socialist because they're kind of supporting them, right? And that's how they were funding the hospitals for more money, right? For more
Hmm.
funding. So, and that database, it was the mortality index, and just long story short, number one, guess what was the number one death over there in Mexico? I don't think that has
Diabetes,
changed. Almost, but the first one, it was
cardio.
actually
Hmm.
cardiovascular, and then second one, it was diabetes. Guess the
Yeah.
third one.
Uh, alcohol, liver,
uh, Kind of maybe related, accidents,
accidents. Yeah.
just accidents in general, right? So I guess talking about health and AI, right? I do recommend a smartwatch, right? Whatever, and pick whatever. Check your steps. It's just, even if you don't go to exercise, right? You check, I don't know, 10,000 steps. Start there, right? And then
Yeah.
you can keep it up. And but yeah, with AI, I feel that we should be starting to get, and I do feel that Apple will keep adding sensors, glucose in some point, right, in your watch, and then it's just going to create a new set of businesses for health related.
Yeah, definitely. We've mentioned it here before. CGM, so continuous glucose monitoring. There's the Aura rings, or that track your sleeping and things like that, and a bunch of other markers. You know, your watches, even going old school pedometers. You know, just to manage your steps. There's these simple things that you can do, but you can also bring it all together and get a lot of insights out of that too. With AI. Having access to all that data, it's going to be able to see certain things before you have to go to the doctor because something comes up. So again, prevention is important, and that's what this data and AI is going to have the ability to do for you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move to the next topic.
Uh,
Tesla.
so yeah, so okay, so like still along the lines a little bit of what we're talking about. Everyone's gonna have a robot in their home.
Mm,
Tesla had this big event, the We Robot event. Do you remember? I mean, this was already at this point a couple weeks ago, but the We
yep.
Robot event had these Optimus robots that we just were talking about.
Yes.
Did you see what they were doing here at this event?
Oh man, the whole thing between the cyber taxi, I guess,
Yeah.
and the robots, right? So eh, I don't know, man. Freaking Elon might become a trillionaire. You know,
Oh,
it's
he's
just
well on his way. I'm sure, man. It's just a matter of time.
it's just insane, insane. But yeah, what about it?
Yeah. So, I mean, so for those of y'all that maybe didn't catch the event, I'll give you the highlights. So they will really, I mean, the event was more so around the robo taxi, right? That was a
Mm.
big thing, right? They've been
They
talking
call it
about this
a
robo taxi
cyber
for a
cab.
while. The cyber cab,
The
right?
cyber cab. Yeah.
And so the cyber cab really was one of the keystone events here. So they rented out a Warner Brothers set just to kind of give you the idea of where they were at. So it was kind of like a small town and on a movie set where they set up this event. So it was like streets, like blocks and things like that. So they had these cyber cabs driving by themselves without an operator, just going back and forth, picking up people, dropping them off in different areas. And it was just wide open, and they were doing self driving the same way full self driving works on our cars. It was doing it. So that was like a pretty good thing. Actually, Elon Musk came in a cyber cab. It dropped him off at the front of the event, and he, did his famous dance and up there, whatever. Super excited, and had his entourage of Optimus robots dancing behind him.
Dude, I'll tell you because I worked with Elon for several months, right? He doesn't prepare, man. It's like when we got into a presentation, the guy's like, "Yeah, show me the presentation." Sometimes, literally on the spot, like, oh, and he's like, "Oh," and he's reading the slide as we all are reading the slides. But I mean, he knows he has done it so much that he can pull it off, right? I feel that other people they have to practice, and they have to be speaking in public and all of that, right? But yeah, I can tell them probably he didn't even. They just told him just show up there and just do your dance and and call the day.
That's right. Maybe that's where Trump got some of his dance moves. He was seen doing his little shimmy this week also, going out as a little politics wise. Elon was stumping for Trump in some areas. But
Yeah, we
back
should
to
tell
the
producer Katie to do a Trump dance, Elon dance, and obviously Steve Ballmer dance with the Bitcoin.
yeah, yeah. All right, producer Katie. So this is so anyways, the event was out pretty cool. And they even announced this. They call it the Robovin. Robovin. It sounds like fancy, right? But that's just Robo Van, the way they say it. But it was a pretty good event. You know what? He even said on the cybercab itself. He says it's actually pretty close. He says it's going to be delivered before 2027. So he's
Hmm.
saying by 2026, and 2026 is when we should be able to see these cyber cabs rolling around town, just driving people back and forth. And he said that normal people like you and I, will be able to buy these cyber
Hmm.
cabs. And I guess we would be the operators or something like that.
Yeah,
Like we
yeah.
would
Like
be the Uber.
I have a friend here in Houston that owns a bunch of taxi drivers, and he cannot list them to other people. So that way, kind of everybody makes money. So I can see that the business already is laid out. But something interesting about that is that it's creating a lot of kind of polemic because there are even a couple YouTubers that they say if Elon Musk deliver this before 2027, I'll shave my my head on camera because they don't believe it, right? So maybe Eric, would you shave your head on camera?
Man, the thing is, if Elon catches wind of that, he's gonna make sure it happens. So I don't know. No, recognizing Elon there. but I'll volunteer your hair.
That's my brand, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But
So
yes,
for those of y'all, it was Marquez Brownlee, MKBHD. He's the one that's saying he's going to shave his head
yeah.
if he actually delivers on time, just because
If we
everybody knows
get
Elon
if we
time.
get to 100,000 subs, I'll do it.
Okay, I'll meet you there. 100,000 subscribers, I'll do it too.
All right. But yeah,
All right. Well, we got to put a time limit on that, though.
that's right. So, I mean, talking about the robot, right? The guy, what the Optimus was serving drinks, doing
Mm-hmm.
paper rock scissors game, right? Talking to people, right? So, um, the robot, it looks very something that you will expect. It doesn't look creepy, you know. I
Yeah.
feel that they kind of even made it better than iRobot. The producers from that movie, they were very angry. Actually, they might even be suing like Tesla.
Probably. I mean, Elon even called the event We Robot, just like the movie I Robot.
No, no, it's
He
weird,
wasn't trying
robot.
to hide it at all, right?
So I don't know. It's like it's one of those things that you hear like um, good artist copy, great artist steal. I think that in this case, Elon is being a great artist.
Yeah, I mean, but the key here is that those robots were actually doing pretty good. I was impressed. You know, they were serving drinks. They were out there in the crowds, walking around. They were playing paper, rock, scissors, right? Rochambeau. So it looked to be like a pretty good step forward compared to like the last version that we saw. So they seem to be making pretty good progress, consistent progress on these guys. And I think Tesla also recently released a video where they show the Optimus robot being able to navigate, similar to how our vehicles navigate full self driving through the streets. These Optimus robots, you can give it a destination and it can
Mhm.
navigate itself there with moving obstacles, you know, making the turns and things like that. So
Yeah.
that's pretty promising. It looks like, you know, they're able to do some of that transfer learning from one of the neural nets maybe to this other new one, unless they're shared. I'm not sure. I haven't seen kind of any of the background on that yet to see if it's like a shared net or if it's something completely separate. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how they're approaching that problem.
Talking about the FSD for Tesla, man, that was a lifesaver for me to go to Austin City Limits this year. I
Hmm.
just took the thing and it just took me there, right? So some of my family, they came here and they were very amazed of the whole experience of literally we were chatting. It's funny because my brother-in-law, he was sitting because they're spacious
Hmm.
the sitting, right? So he was with his leg crossed, and it looked like he was almost by the chimney. Like, do you want a pipe? I
That's
felt that I
funny.
just can put my Labrador by him, you know. And it's just the whole picture was hilarious. I should have taken a picture for that. And we just
Yeah.
literally were just waiting to just go to get to Austin, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, you have to still pay attention because you know you get the annoying little thingy, but it's there. It's like I'll say maybe 85%. It's
Yeah.
like I only have to intervene a couple times when there was some road changes, but yeah, very very good. The other thing that I noticed is that they were telling me your there's a slang in Mexico that they call it nave.
Hmm.
It's like your nave is so cool, which is like a spaceship. You can use that one. So, but it's not the first person that they tell me, right? So, uh, so yes, they just talk about kind of it looks like a spaceship, you know, and it does look like a spaceship.
I mean, it is. It's a big silver kind of unidentifiable object going down the road. I mean, some people give you the finger, some people give you the thumbs up. You know, you just don't know what kind of reaction you're gonna get. By the way, it's so funny. I was driving down the bayou the other day, and there's a group of kids. There's a group of kids on their bikes going down the bayou, and they're all like, But then there's the one rebellious looking kid, you know, with the wild, crazy hair. He's like, it's like, no, that's the guy that would be buying the Cybertruck in the future, right?
That's funny.
Yeah.
Talking about a bunch of Cybertrucks, dude, the numbers are like interesting. I was pulling them out to see on the EVs.
Hmm.
Tesla is obviously ahead.
Yeah.
Uh, 86,000 Tesla Ys were sold, right? In
The
kind of
Model
the annual,
Ys.
yeah, the Model Ys. Then the Tesla Model 3, 58,000. Then Cybertruck, 16,000.
Mm.
I mean, just crush the other trucks, right? The other trucks, they are not even in the list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the next one it was interesting. Ford is trying to make a comeback. I mean, it's not bad. 13,000 with their Mustang electric vehicle. Then you have a Honda, right, and Hyundai, and then at kind of the last one on that list, it was like the Chevy Equinox with almost 9,000.
Hmm.
So I think that they are catching up. When we were going through for ACL, I wanted to stop because like I don't want to be with a very low battery. That
Yeah.
is the part that sucks. Like you kind of have to stop, right? And yes, you can say, well, even if you're putting gas, yeah, I get it, but there is way more gas stations than kind of chargers. Something that I noticed is that it charges very fast up to a certain level. I guess because of the lithium. But yeah,
Hmm.
the last portion is like, screw this. I'll charge it later. But yeah,
Yeah.
what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I've taken. I think I mentioned I did road trips over to Austin, San Antonio, stuff like that already. Um, the good thing is the battery's big enough, so from Houston to like San Antonio, you can get there in in a charge, right? You don't have to stop in between. I think same thing for Austin, Houston to Austin. But yeah, you get there and you're kind of probably at like 20%. You don't want to be driving around at 20%. So usually it's a good idea to get charged once you get there. But yeah, you go from like, if let's say you're at a lower charge, like 10, 20%. Usually it takes you up to 75 or 80%. That's usually kind of the faster charge, so you can get done in like 20, 25 minutes, something like that. But usually that's enough time for you to go into Buc-ee's, you get your Buc-ee balls, or you get your chamoy candies and stuff like that. And you're
Bookie
back out
balls.
there in your truck because you need snacks as you're not driving, as the truck's driving. So you need something to do.
No,
So you're
man.
in there getting your snacks and
All my
stuff.
family is like upset at me because I don't let them to put food in my truck.
What? Oh, come on. It's a truck. But yours is all black interior. I got
Doesn't
white
matter.
interior. Yours is black. You should be fine, dude.
It's like then it's funny because we were at Bucky's and it's like, no, we're not gonna eat in the truck. So I opened the front, and then my sister was like, it was like, yeah, 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 whatever. And then we were eating on the front, and some people they were just like cheering and the same, right? Like
Oh,
I
yeah, yeah.
still very surprised how much attention the truck gets, and as you said, some love and some hate, right? But but yes, that was interesting too. That we were snacking on the front.
Yeah. No, it's pretty funny. And as you'll see, we're gonna release another video. We did Tech-Mex podcast at Tex-Mex restaurant, where we saw also kind of the front being fit to use. So that's coming here soon. But no, I mean, I think it's really good. And to add on to your story about how the self driving is actually working out pretty good. This
Hmm.
week, I went to a Rockets game. Too bad you couldn't make it this time, but we still had a good time, and we all kind of carpooled because we had one parking pass for the garage, and so we all carpooled in my truck. So five of us in the truck. It was actually still pretty spacious, very comfortable. The folks had plenty of space. There was no problems there. But I was driving using the full self driving, and nobody realized it that it was a truck driving all the way into downtown Houston um, to get to the game. Of course, once it gets to like the parking garage, I took over. But they're like, "What? It was driving?" I was like, "Yeah, it was driving itself." And
Hmm.
it came in handy also afterwards, right? Because at the game, a lot of the folks were in the suite, had a bunch of drinks, things like that. Uh, so it kind of also driving back home, it's kind of a little bit more hectic out there. You're able to make it home easy because FSD is kind of watching out for you too. So
Hmm.
it's really, really handy there. I think it's like, it is. I think it is 85%, 85% there.
Yep.
It's getting pretty good.
Yeah. My wife, she's like, you're getting too used to use the Tesla because sometimes I was getting out of the other car though, and it was on.
Yes, yes, that is so true. I've done
So
that.
or the brakes, right? Because in Teslas you don't use the brakes,
Hmm.
and again you just like it takes some adjustment to go back to these ancient oil machines.
Yeah, I've left the car running for about an hour outside for before where I'm like, oh man, I don't think I turned off the car, and yeah, the car's running outside
Yeah, and it
for
was
an hour.
unlocked too because that's the other thing, you don't
Yeah,
have to lock them.
exactly.
So yeah, now with this is that you take it to a different notch because they did a very good job on the new wheels for the Cybertruck. You have the wheel, and you just press it, and you see the autopilot just in bluish. So that way, you just kind of paying semi attention, right? Because the thing is doing most of the thing, right? But yeah,
Hmm.
you just get so used to the technology that is like, yeah, very, very, very awkward. But guess what? Mexicans are gonna catch up, man. Guess how?
Yeah, that's true. You're right. You're right. Shine Bomb, like in her inaugural address. By the
La
way,
presidenta.
if y'all remember, we were out there in Mexico City when she was doing her big speeches out there. We got like caught up in this big, in the
Rally.
big rally, basically out there in Mexico City. Well, she went back to the same spot and she did her inaugural address there, and she said, "We're gonna make our own EV." So they said that's what
And
they said,
100
and
million Mexicans. Yeah.
and so as Mando was spitting out the numbers earlier, yeah, I mean Tesla's out there making a lot of these vehicles. They seem to be catching on. There's a good amount of demand. Mexico says, we're very creative people. We've got really smart people. We're able to also do the same thing. So they announce um, I think it's called Olinia, the model of the EV that's going to be under $10,000. I think 8K is what they're saying or targeting for an EV. Now, I think that would sell a lot of vehicles there. What do you think?
Yeah. It's funny because the Volkswagen, the Beetles, right? They were very popular.
Hmm.
Very, very popular. They actually became also the taxis for many years. Like they changed the colors to green, to I believe pink too, and different colors. Almost every decade they were changing the color, and I feel that they need very small cars because you were there. There's
Yeah.
so many people that is like hard to have a Cybertruck over there. I don't think that if I were be living over there, I don't think that Cybertruck would be the good choice because even to just get into tiny places and the streets. So I feel that it's going to be like that. Maybe a very tiny car that you can just move it around and super effective or cost effective. So yeah,
Hmm.
I'm excited for them. I think that people don't realize that there's a lot of good engineers in Mexico. Uh, it's basically a lot of the manufacturing for Volkswagen and some other brands. They're doing it on the north of Mexico. So yeah, I think that they have already the infrastructure to be able to pull it off, and they also have some of the raw materials. So I'm excited. We'll see how if they're able to make it happen.
Shine Bomb, Shine Bomb.
La presidenta. I still have my hat, man. Even that
Yeah.
most of my family hate me because like they are more in the other parties. But it's fine.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's all good. I think that the good thing is they had really good candidates to choose from. It seemed so. I think either way, it was going to end up being okay.
It's in politics. It's so divisive that you are like over here is even more, right? You only have two parties, right?
Hmm.
Over there you have a little more options, but still. Um, Talking about the Cybertruck though in politics, California they spent about 150,000 for their first cyber popo.
Uh-oh, the popo coming.
It's like, dude, imagine if you see a cyber truck and then you see Optimus like Robocop.
Oh man,
It's like,
I can see it. I can see it, man. That thing's like riding in the back of the Cybertruck. It like jumps out and starts running, chasing after the people.
I hope that it doesn't become more like the Terminator, like the T2, right? I forgot the name
Oh
of the.
god.
Start chasing after you for paying your ticket.
Well, California, they got all the creatives out there too, right? There's Hollywood out there, so they can visualize how this is going to be. So they made their Cybertruck police vehicle, huh? How's it
Hmm.
look?
I mean, it looks badass, man. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I personally, I mean, you had it. If you guys are watching the YouTube one, Eric has it behind his like a little Cybertruck there. I mean, I like it. I like the
Oh yeah,
angles. Yeah, I like the angles. I like the. Some people still mock it, but I mean, it's preference, right?
yeah. Well, that's for sure an imposing vehicle for for the police to be using, right? But I'm sure they'll put it to good use over there.
Yeah. So the last thing on this area, though, I I notice also that right now a lot of the robots, space, right? There is this company that it got basically hired by NASA. They awarded the contract. It's called Axiom Space. They got
Mm,
awarded for 228 millions to build a new
228.
spacesuit. Yeah. So it's, I don't know. It seems like a lot for a spacesuit, but I guess there is a lot of technology as well on the on building a new spacesuit.
That's true. And we mentioned not too long ago about how there's this compatibility issue, right, with the space shoots. That's why those folks that were stuck up in space recently, and they called Elon. They're like, "Hey, Elon, the Boeing ship, hey, ain't no work. Like, can you hook us up?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll send my spaceship to grab those folks that are out there." But part of some of the issues that we're having was because the spacesuits that the astronauts had weren't going to be compatible with Elon's rockets, right?
Mm,
And so they had to send up some extra spacesuits for them to use for the folks for everyone to have one to when they come back down, right? So I think it's maybe they'll make one that's universal, that's compatible with everything. So there's probably a need for that. But I remember seeing Tesla's versions. They seem, of course, like Tesla, everything is kind of minimal,
mhm.
more minimalistic, right? Uh, so Tesla has some also. So I wonder how this Axiom are how they're going to compete with the ones that Tesla's already using, or if they're going to
Yeah,
work together on something.
we'll see. The it's just the whole thing is interesting, right? All of the different. Um, I have a friend that he got into this company that they do a lot of robotics and animations under the ocean because a lot of the pressure and a lot of the testing it happens because underwater and it's very similar in space.
Mm.
So yeah, I hope that they collaborate so they try to advance faster on all of that.
Yeah, all the space stuff is kind of moving real quick too. So I guess also that man, Elon's like all over the place, right?
Yeah.
They had they sent the big spaceship up into space with the reusable booster,
Hmm.
and like it goes up into space. The booster pops off, and previously they were trying to get that booster to come back and land on its own, because on like a platform, but the booster was too heavy, so the feet that they would have to put on there wouldn't work. So they have to end up. They built this tower that catches the booster in midair. So that's also that happened in this last couple of weeks since we last talked to y'all. So there's a lot going on. Elon's plugged into a lot of these kind of society changing things. Of course, Elon wants to get to Mars, so that's part of what this whole thing is reusable boosters to be able to refuel in space and things like that. So you can send these things up there, refuel the spaceship, and then it takes off so that it's able to make it to Mars these long distances.
Yeah,
Um, Lots of cool technology. Lots of cool technology here coming up.
for sure. All right. The last topic for today, wealth. This week though, I was listening to Naval Ravikant. I have mentioned it a couple times. The guy is like a philosopher in our time, and
Mm.
he mentioned these couple things. Uh, Sometimes in that area in the world, obviously, we always talk about money, but this topic that he brought up is an interesting one, which is like, okay, now that you have the money, what are the things that you cannot buy?
That's right. They say money can't buy happiness.
Well, I mean, like at least you can choose your tragedy. What how do you want to live with, right? so, but no, he actually was able to articulate it very succinctly, and he
Hmm.
said that he sees almost like three or four things that maybe is hard to buy, that you have to earn them. Number one is a fit body. And I get it. I mean, you have to kind of be
Got to work
healthy,
for
eat
it.
properly. You have
Hmm.
to work for it, right? You have to maintain the your health, right? And I feel that that one is in your best interest. If you want to be, you made the money, and if you want to live, I don't know, 100 years, which is a nice a nice goal, right?
Nice round
But
number.
I guess then you start have to go into all like Brian Johnson on it, right?
Right.
And then you just earn it, right? So there is this guy. Do you know Robert Marchand or something like that?
A cyclist.
Yes, that guy. I think that he lived up to 109 years old, and he
It's pretty
broke his
good.
own record when he was like a centennial, right? And they always study
Okay.
him because like what happened, how this guy was able to live so long, right? So right now with
He
the
was still riding bikes after being 100 years old.
yes, and the most amazing
Ah,
thing is that he broke his own record. He's like, no, this is too slow. He broke his own record, and there is some videos out there, and probably we should do a short video on that because it's amazing. I mean, the guy was already he shouldn't be have the ability to do that, and he did it, right? So that's the reason why they were studying him. What was the things or the trades, right, that he was doing? But yeah, I feel that fit body. I agree with Naval, right? The second one, it was a calm mind. It's like, dude, I know so many people that they are very wealthy, right? And they just are like stressed, and they always are like, I want more, or they are like envious of others, right? They're jealous and all of that. It's like, true. Like you can be a billionaire, but if you don't have a calm mind or you cannot sleep at night, that sucks, right?
hmm. Yeah, very true. Just thinking about it, it's really good. They have these assessments that you can do. I think some of them are called like Wheel of Life. Basically, there's all these different areas of your life. So whenever you like, a lot of times when you go to a coach or something like that, they'll give you an assessment. Say, hey, rate how you feel these certain areas of your life are going. And a lot of these things seem to fit together, right? Because what they say, why it's the Wheel of Life, it's because it's like. When all of these different segments or areas of your life are being taken care of, well, the ride is going to be smooth, right? The wheel's
Hmm.
going to turn well. It's not going to be bumpy. It's going to be a smooth ride. But if there's something that's out of whack, you're going to have a bumpy ride. And so the goal is to be able to identify, right, what are these things in your life that are important to you, and make sure that they're addressed so you don't have this bumpy ride through life, and try to address them kind of one by one. So I like how this guy's kind of pointing these things out, right? Obviously your body is always going to be one of the important things. Your mind is another
Hmm.
big piece of this. Fortunately, I think some people are naturally good in these things. Like you always say, Elon runs off his own juices. Like I don't know
Hmm.
what he's got going, but that helps him. So a lot of people with the fit body, right? Some people are like naturally just like always exercising, always moving, always been very fit their whole life, where a lot of other people are kind of the opposite and they got to work at it. And same thing with the mind. Some folks are just always zen, right? For
Yeah.
however their chemicals are set up, they're always zen. But other folks, they're always kind of like working against themselves sometimes, in this. So those are pretty interesting areas there.
Yeah, yeah. It's like my daughter, she got accepted into Mensa, and it's like you have a good engine, right? Like your brain,
Hmm.
use it. Right? It's like just put it to good use, right? So I feel that like that. If you're able to detect what you're good at it, then
Hmm.
you start focusing on other areas, right? Like to be able to go through. Regarding the coal mine, the person that was interviewing him is like, well, what about meditation? And I feel that sometimes meditation goes into a lot of the, yeah, you have to do it this way or that way. I don't know, maybe that I'm older now, that I feel that maybe if you find a way that when you're in flow, for me is just that state, right? So you can be
Hmm.
painting, it can be like gardening, it can be like programming, right? Like so I feel that obviously ultimately it would be nice if you can always just be meditating. For
Hmm.
me it happens sometimes when I'm walking, and sometimes I'm talking to my wife. It's like I get into that meditative state because I'm just in that flow. But it would be so cool to be in that flow most of your time, right? Like you are literally meditating and seeing the world the way that it is, and basically removing that chatter, because we all have that chatter. The people that meditate, they call it the monkey mind. And then if that you remove it, and it's just present of what is happening. But yeah, it's
Well, I
key.
don't know. Have you heard of those folks that they say they don't have the inner monologue? Like
I do,
when
because
I
mine
when
is
I
very
think
mine is very very quiet, like
very quiet. No,
very very
mine
quiet.
is. It's like there's always someone talking in there.
And how is treating you is like, you bitch,
I know. It's
do
like,
this.
so there's like the folks that naturally maybe have a quiet inner
uh,
monologue, right? So maybe
yeah.
meditation's easier for them. I'm not sure, but then there's also the people. I think we talked about it before, that the where they can easily visualize stuff, right? I guess
Oh
some
yeah.
people are more visual, and I'm
Mhm.
like, well, yeah, I visualize stuff, but then no, there's like this extra level where you're able to
Like
see the
movie
minute
level.
detail, like
Yes.
it's playing a movie exactly.
Yeah, yeah. My wife
So there's
has
levels
that
to everything.
talent to be able to see movies. Like that's the reason why sometimes she prefers to read, because
Mm.
for her it's like she's seeing a movie, right, instead of actually watching TV or whatever. So, but yeah, and it was actually, she figured out that kind of later in her life, like others cannot visualize that way. But yeah, that was the numbers two. The number three, though, it sounds kind of obvious, but it's true. A house full of love, right? Like whether you live with your wife, kids, pets, right? If they
Hmm.
love you, and surrounding, right? If you're at work, in your career, and you're loved, like the Tex-Mex podcast, right? Yeah, all your love for the subscribers, hit the subscribe. But yes, all of that counts, and yeah, I get it. That one, it was kind of the an obvious one, right?
Yeah.
And the last
I
one,
mean,
go
a
ahead.
lot of it goes back to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Hmm.
I think that's always been kind of one of the ones. Is like you need some kind of structure or unit support structure, right? That provides kind of that love, safety, things like that. So I think that does make a lot of sense, and it looks different for everybody, right? But the
Hmm.
key is for a lot of these, all these things, is to find solutions that work for you, because what works for someone else is not necessarily going to work for you. And so sometimes that's part of the experiment, right, that we call life, is that it's you got to find out kind of what really works for you. And so that house full of love is going to be different for a lot of people, but it's important. So I
Yeah.
agree with that one. That guy's on a roll there.
Yeah, and lastly, you call it out on Maslow. It was kind of respect. You
Mm.
cannot buy respect, and depends, right? Like if you're an academic, they want to have to be published, right? Or if you want if you are with, I don't know, with athletes, also you want the respect of your teammates and so on. So, and you cannot buy it, right? So, I feel that for that one, the market dictates it, or the people around will dictate it. So it's not you. It's just it's the results of your actions. Uh, but yeah, it made me
Mm.
think a lot this week when I was listening to that.
Yeah. That's interesting on that last one, how you see it as it's based off of someone else. Like it's not how you perceive yourself, or maybe it is. It's how you perceive others perceive you.
Mm.
I mean, so it's still on your own, but again, maybe that's your calm mind also that's needed. But there's something interesting there. If you're relying on an external person or group or authority for something so important for you to feel good and healthy, right? There's something there that'd be something for us to talk through. I think
Yeah,
because I
and
think
it
it should
goes.
come from within. But I guess maybe there's some folks rely on that external validation too.
I think that it goes back to how, as a humans, we are wired, where
Hmm.
you wanted to be part of a community,
Yeah.
and a way for you to think, well, I'm part of the community, and I'm serving them, is kind of your score count with the money. All right, you got that, but it's still how people love you, how people they are appreciating things that you're doing, and I feel that
Hmm.
respect is kind of that the other metric. Is like, yeah, I'm helping them, yeah, they say that they like me, but also they respect me, right? So I feel that it's a different another metric.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So again, coming back to the top, these are what was the guy's name again?
Naval Ravikant.
Naval Ravikant. So, and he says these are things money can't buy, essentially, right?
Hmm. Yep.
It's like once you get the money, these are really the other things that you got to worry about. Pretty interesting things: a fit body, a calm mind, house full of love and respect.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I like it.
Well, I think that we have a solid one, man.
Yeah, I think so. Again, just a reminder to like, subscribe, comment. Let us. We love hearing from y'all. I think we asked y'all what do y'all think about um, this elderly care AI? Do y'all think that's a good idea, or do y'all have thoughts around it? Let us know. We want to hear from you. Again, just a reminder to watch our all-time high videos. It's a good time. Bitcoin's heading up, so it's almost to the all-time high again. Look at those. Those are always a lot of fun. And also check out our Cybertruck videos. They've been getting a lot of hits. I think you guys like to see those. So we're going to keep them coming. I think we've got another one here from when we did Tech-Mex at Tech-Mex. So that's all we got for today. Dale.
Dale.